Well, we're on the road again. This time it is Bolton. It's very hot, very sweaty. There's a lot of very talented people in this gym. There's also Anthony Crolla, who's in the ring, putting some fighters through their paces. This is the Lightweight Boxing Show. So yes, this is the Lightweight Boxing Show in Bolton, London last week, and we're going to wrap up all things London and what happened over the weekend in just a sec, but we can tease what's coming up as well. We're going to be speaking to Joe Gallagher. We're going to get a little tour of the gym, and there's a couple of champs in here, of course, and Joe intends to make a few more, but there is Natasha Jonas, so we'll get Natasha's thoughts on a big event this weekend, and of course her own aspirations. She is the WBO Super Welterweight Champion of the world. Paul Butler's just had a fantastic night as well, so we'll be catching up with Paul. But firstly, Ant, we got to start with the big fella.
Yes.
Wembley Stadium, 94,000 and all that.
Yeah.
And the uppercut, everything. Just because of your reaction, I mean, I know we're nearly a week has gone by, but a considered reaction to it now.
Well, listen, we was around it all week, and you knew it had that feel of a huge fight week, and you know it was a Tyson Fury show. Yeah. But I think it was an event. It become like, you know, used to with the Anthony Joshua nights and stuff like that. That was for me the big coming out night for Tyson Fury. But listen, about the fight itself, I think everyone was shocked, including Tyson Fury, when Dillian came out southpaw. It was, you know, it seemed a strange tactic, maybe threw Tyson a little bit. But I think, listen, for 3 or 4 rounds, it was a little bit messy. Not too much was happening, but there was actually a bit happening because I think it was Tyson was just taking the sting out of Dillian. He was prodding with the jab, and then he was whipping in the odd shot downstairs. And everyone remembers, what nearly everyone remembers now, is just that shot. It was an absolute peach of an uppercut. And Dillian, I know, since done an interview talking about a push, but that wouldn't have made the slightest bit different. Not at all, not at all. It would have just meant Dillian falling forward. You know, you feel for him because he had very, very little success in the fight. I've been there, you know, you train hard for a fight. You don't get to implement your game plan. But Tyson was very clever, very clever. He brought Dillian up a little bit, and when the time was right, he landed a perfect shot.
Straight after the fight, he was saying it before the fight as well, that that's his last fight.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you this one for free. Before I fought Deontay Wilder 3, I was in my house in Vegas, and I said to Paris, I said, this is going to be the last fight, babe. I just don't want to do it anymore. And she said, yes, I'm happy. Let it be the last fight. And then after the fight, I said to her in the shower, I said, it's definitely the last fight. There's no more of this. And then I was happy with that decision. And I get a call from Frank saying, you know, we can do a homecoming fight at Wembley. And I was like, you know, I said to Paris, I said, I've got to go one more time. I've got to get the old boots out again. And you know, it was a tough decision because I was happy being in Morecambe retired. I used to go to the gym to watch Joe Parker train and the boys, Tommy. And I used to say to Andy, I'm happy I'm retired.
Do you believe that's Tyson Fury's last fight?
I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I just think, you know, Tyson's a showman, and he put on the ultimate show on Saturday night, from the ring walk, everything about it, and he enjoys it.
A 9-minute ring walk.
It was a big one. It was a big one. Dillian couldn't have been too happy waiting there. But that was also pretty smart, you know, keeping Dillian in the ring. Tyson's big. Listen, for me, he's the most recognisable name in combat sports. I'm talking your MMA, your boxing, whichever it may be. I think we're going to get to see him one more time. A lot will depend on the outcome of the Usyk-Joshua rematch.
Do you think if Joshua wins, that fight's happening 100%, apart from the promotional difficulties maybe? Yeah. Or is it a case, or do you think that Usyk wins, it's an easy fight to make, whatever? I don't know. I mean, they're probably both a nightmare, aren't they? But is Usyk the style that Fury will fear, not Josh?
I believe that Tyson would think that Alexander Usyk causes him more problems. I think he'll have that attitude, but I think he also believes his size, and he'll make his size pay. And that's what I think with Tyson. You've got to, you know, he's been the best heavyweight of his generation. I know there's all sorts of talk about one of the best ever and stuff like that, but no matter what, I think in any era that Tyson would have beat a lot of good fighters, a lot of the greats, but he would have give even the ones who might not have done, he would have given them a tough night because of his size alone. And he said it. He's a big man, but he doesn't move like that. He moves like someone who's a lot lighter. Yeah. He uses his assets well. And what's very underrated is his boxing brain.
Now, of course, no one is going to steal the show from Tyson Fury. Nobody. No. But Nick Ball nearly did, if you know what I mean. In his own way, that was a great fight, wasn't it?
It was certainly the pick of the undercard. And, Isaac, fair play, he didn't stop trying. It was a terrible cut. And anyone who knows Isaac knows the bottle he's got. He's shown a lot of heart. Yeah. Ending was a little bit controversial, but it was Nick Balls coming out biting a lot of people around the spot, being in Liverpool the night before for Paul Butler's fantastic win. There was a lot of locals sipping Nick Ball big.
Which is a beautiful segue into what was a fantastic night for Paul Butler, because, of course, he rolled back the years, 33, just like Tyson Fury.
Yep.
But he's got his hands on another bit of shiny kit, and we caught up with Paul a bit earlier. First things first, the week you had, the build-up wasn't exactly ideal, so talk us through that, the Monday before the Friday fight night.
Yeah, so the Monday we're just cracking on as if we've got Casemiro. I think we get to the Wednesday and there's a big change there. Casemiro's been caught in saunas, trying to make weight. He's cut 10 pounds in 3 days, which the British Boxing Board of Control don't like, and especially when the sauna video comes out. He's out of the contest, and we've got Sultan. Sultan had been training for 8 weeks. He'd been training for one man, and that was me. It was hard. Don't get me wrong, it was hard, but for 8 weeks we knew Sultan was on standby. The only time we actually went over the game plan, we'd obviously spoke about it, but the only time we actually was able to throw shots and do certain things was in the changing rooms 10 minutes before we walked out. So we didn't really have long to get that into my head, and certain shots Casemiro throws and certain shots Sultan throws, so we had to change up everything what Casemiro does to what Sultan was doing, and I think pretty much we nailed it. There was a few, I wouldn't say sticky patches in the fight, but there was a few times where he was getting to do what he wanted to do, and then we just shut that down and we nullified it straight away. This one means a little bit more to me than the first one. The first one we always knew we were vacating the title as soon as we won it, and we were going straight back down a weight. This time I'm a fully fledged bantamweight. I've done it the hard way. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I was back on the small hall shows after the loss to Rodriguez. Everyone wrote me off. I built myself back up. I got into mandatory position, and we've got this one now.
What's the plan?
The plan, well, enjoy a couple of weeks off, because it's been a long road that from obviously we had 3 months training before Dubai, a few weeks off, and then we were straight back in the gym preparing for Casemiro again. So we're going to have a little break and then we'll see where we go from here. Sunday I was back in the corners, and we were in the championships on Sunday, and we're straight back out Saturday again. And the football as well. We've got a final on Monday. So, listen, I'm hardly getting any rest, but listen, I love it. We're straight back in the gym tonight with the kids, and we're preparing for the schoolboys and schoolgirls championships.
Well, Paul Butler there, he's a real dedicated pro, isn't he? And it's great to see lads like Paul get the success that he deserves.
Honestly, I was asked Joe, I was made up just all weekend. I was been just because I see what he's been through, and I'm not just saying that. I was made up for Joe as well. They've been on a journey together, and that was a tough fight on Friday night. And Paul at times made it look easy. That was it was the win of Paul's career, without a doubt. It was the win of Paul's career, and he joins a very elite club and become a 2-time world champion.
And opportunity knocks now, of course, for Paul Butler. But, of course, we are in Gallagher's gym. We're going to get a nice little look around. We're going to meet the great and the good, and Joe's going to show us around. But before that, because we have to bring this feature in because it's Anthony's favourite and Anthony's in charge. So it's time for Crolla's Corner.
We're caught in a trap, and I can't walk out.
Paul, big Liverpool fan. Can train, Liverpool player, past or present. For a boxing fight, who is it?
I'd probably go with Jonas, to be honest. He's my favourite striker.
Probably Mo Farrell, who's got an engine, and just keep him on that long jab. He'll be miles taller than any of his weight division. So yeah, Mo Farrell.
Marcus, you've got a love for reality TV, yeah? You've got to go on Love Island, Strictly Come Dancing or I'm a Celebrity? What do you go on?
I do. I'm a Celebrity because I think it would push me out of comfort zone and it'd be a great experience, and I'll be able to show the real me, not just the media. So.
Love Island. No, not Love Island. No, not Love Island. No, Strictly Come Dancing. Strictly Come Dancing.
I'm getting the double vodka straight away. Straight on the double vodka. Coke or lemonade, it doesn't really bother me.
One person on this gym you have to swerve on a night out. Who is it?
Well, Callum Johnson. Just gives you these vibes of like he could switch on a night out, so they're going to have to stay clear of him.
It's your turn up in the karaoke bar. What do you nail?
I'd probably go back to my Irish roots,
Yeah.
but I probably am going to say Walking in Memphis.
That's not Irish.
What?
That's not Irish.
No, I said I would have probably gone back to my Irish roots.
Oh,
but
right,
I'm going
right,
to go
yeah.
with the Walking in Memphis because I've heard you're good at that sounds here. It'd be a nice one
Give
to
us
do
a
with you.
preview.
It'd be a nice one to do with you.
Means a lot, that tune.
We're caught in a trap, and I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby.
Well, as ever, some good stuff in Crolla's corner.
Always.
Any surprises?
Rihanna and James was great together, wasn't it?
It's proper
Great
double
double
like
act.
that. Yeah, it's cannon and ball. But anyway, of course, it's not all fun in this gym. There is a bit of fun going on. Obviously, it's a bit of a team environment, but we know about that. So we had to obviously collar the main man in here, Joe Gallagher, and just get his take on the people in here and what's going on.
Scott, that's it, done. 4 done. CJ, Tasha on the back, 1 round each. Together. Yeah, so that's it. Sorry. Well, it's been the end of a bit of a tough day. Everyone started getting back in camp for sparring. I've just seen everyone sparring here in the gym today. Clark Smith, he's just come back with a little break from Portugal. He's making his debut in the new season. Charlie Edwards there doing floor work, or he's busy watching them 2 on the pads anyway, one of the 2. But he's just waiting on a fight date. You got in the ring Callum Johnson, Natasha Jonas on the ring, on the pads with Scott Quigg and Anthony Crolla, doing good work. Paul Butler's in with his belt today. I'm warming down with Colin McGowan, waiting on a fight date. Marcus Morrison, James, Rihanna, they're all out. Jose Burton as well. So the gym's busy as you can see today, but everyone's in and training and good atmosphere. And with boxing being involved at 15, 20 years, they have a routine of coming to the gym and being involved. Right, today we were all in 8:30, 9 o'clock today. We didn't start work till 10. We were talking about the City match. It took till 10 o'clock to get going, but that's everyone coming to work and enjoying themselves. And you hear about Manchester United in a broken dressing room. They say it isn't. It's always been that team mentality and we're all in it together. And Paul's come in today now to show his belt off, and as you've seen before, everyone pictures took with him. Paul, obviously it's the interim. The WBO got a phone call yesterday. They reckon, but you never know until like boxing is announced. But that should be announced this week. They are going to make him full world champion. So, like I said to you now, the veteran class is in progress. Callum Johnson 35, 36, Tasha 38, and Paul's 33. So we call them the veterans. They have their own class now. We don't put them with the young guns. So, but like you say, for Natasha at the age that she is, to won a world title. Paul Butler rolled back the years the other night in one of his career best performances, and Callum Johnson there should have fought Joe Smith. So when you've got the prospects like say Clark and Rihanna and James and Mark Heffron in and around them and thinking, wow, they're still doing it and we're doing the same work with them, gives them belief and gives belief to Crolla for the work that he can carry on doing the same type of work. But he'll put his own mark on it. He has his own ways. He's been in the corner with me for years since Macklin won Europeans. John fought Brandon Rios, so his big fight, big night, occasion, experience, he's got it in abundance. Where someone like Scott Quigg, who's starting off now, he's got it in the corner, but he's learning and getting that confidence in what he's saying is right and believing in what he's saying. That's the main thing. Not just saying it for the sake of it, but believing it. And Scott, as you know, is a very good student of boxing. Now he's got to, I feel, he'll become a very good teacher, but baby steps. I mean, as you know, all the best football managers weren't all World Cup winners. So, listen, we're back, we're up and running, and we'll see what happens. If we get Mark Efron that British, that'll be like, it's 14 British champions, we've got 6 world now. The desire is still burning as strong as ever done.
So fair to say, Joe's still buzzing, very enthusiastic. Great to see different levels of experience in the gym, from people that haven't even made the pro debut like Clark Smith to world champions like Charlie Edwards, who's looking to get back in the mix. Paul Butler, of course, we've already heard from. And Natasha Jonas, who we're going to get a full breakdown of Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, because that's the big deal coming up this weekend, isn't it? And I know you're jumping on a plane, you're lucky man, very soon as well to get over there.
I can't wait to get over. It's a great show. And I think, obviously, you mentioned your Katie Taylor, Serrano. Obviously, that's the big one, but there's a small part on the undercard, chief support, with our mate Liam Smith, who we caught up a few weeks ago, fighting Jesse Vargas.
Before we get to that, as we were talking to Joe as well, it is great in this gym, though, that yourself and Scott Quigg, former world champs, are putting something back, if you like, and staying involved. And it's kind of unique, I suppose, to stay in the gym, but now as coaches.
Listen, I love being in here, and obviously as a young coach, I can only learn so much, from Joe, and I couldn't ask for anyone to learn more from. But I think it also helps fill the void after boxing, where people, me and Scott both weekend, we was absolutely buzzing for the weekend, all weekend, and today. We come back in the gym Monday from Paul Butler's performance Friday night, because we've seen the hard work that went into it throughout the company, how we executed the game plan perfectly. So it helps fill a void as well, sort of from, a selfish point of view. But no, I love being in there.
Right, before we really turn our attention to the big fight, the big card, the Matchroom card, live on DAZN at the weekend, your charity bet, you've been in good form recently, and got to give you that.
Yeah,
so
I nearly did it 3 weeks. The run just fell short, but this week it's a treble. It is Liam Smith over to Vegas for Shakur Stevenson, who I'm very confident wins well against Valdez. And then in the biggest women's fight of all time, I am going for Katie Taylor on points.
Are they all on points?
So no. Shakur Stevenson, Liam, the win. Katie on points. Okay. That's my charity bet this week.
Okay, we'll see how that pans out. But of course, Liam Smith co-main against Jesse Vargas. That's one that's been building for a long, long time. Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, we spent a lot of time. We spent a day at the Rotunda, so we caught up with Liam.
From a personal point of view, I finally get my hands on Jesse. But obviously then to tick a box, Madison Square Garden, the pinnacle of boxing. And what I've never done New York. I've topped the bill Vegas, Texas, Arizona. I've fought Mexico and Russia. But New York, Madison Square Garden, just got a different ring to it. And from that side of it, it's one that I'm so looking forward to. But also to be on a bill with a historic, top of a historic main event in Katie Taylor and Serrano. I'm looking forward to that fight as a fan also. So I'm so looking forward to April 30th.
Babe, I'm not saying it's bad blood in any way, because I know you've had a beer with him in Texas.
Of course, yeah, I know what you mean, but I also...
There's been a lot of talk on it for long, so it's one of them where it's like, no, it's strictly business.
Yeah, it has now. Yeah. Now I totally understand why you're saying it, because I spoke along the same lines the other day, and I said that he seemed a proper nice lad, Jesse, but now, I don't know why, but I do feel his needle there, and now I feel his needle there on his behalf by some of the stuff he's putting out also. Yeah. And I do feel it's gone from quiet and respectful side to playing ping pong together in Texas to now having a little bit of verbals and a little bit personal now. And look, I'll be dead honest, I said that last time, and it was a domestic, derby last time, but if I have to make this personal, I will. My whole career's on the line, so for me to carry on going in boxing, if I have to make it personal, I will make it personal.
The only thing I'm ready for is for that bell to ring Saturday night, and for me to let my hands go and just punch this guy down. I'm looking forward to that moment. I'm here to talk about boxing. This is my main career. This is my livelihood. This is what I've done since I was 8 years old. How can anyone question it? You know what I mean? I love what I do. I'm great at it. That's why I continue to stay on top in the top 10 in the world. And I will become world champion again. That is my plan, and that is what will happen.
I'm just excited to go out there. I train hard like I always have in every fight. You know, all my opponents, I never underestimate them. I know Katie Taylor is a true champion. She's undefeated and undisputed for a reason. But one of my goals is to become undisputed champion, and she has that. And I'm going up once again 2 divisions to face the best fighter and one of the best fighters in the world. But I'm ready. And then, yeah, I can't wait to Saturday night to prove that we're deserving of these opportunities, of this spotlight. Just everything all together, you know. It's been an amazing, long journey getting here to fight Katie Taylor. I mean, leading up to this fight, but I think timing is no better than right now. I mean, I just can't wait for Saturday night. I'm so looking forward to Sunday, being undisputed champion.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am very, very proud of this event. This event definitely does feel different. Just seeing the amount of media today, looking at the amount of media that we actually had to do all week as well. I'm sick of talking about myself, but it's been an amazing week, and definitely very, very different to how I started boxing as a 9 or 10-year-old, where I actually had to pretend, like I said, to be a boy to actually get fights. Women's boxing wasn't even a sanctioned sport in Ireland. Now here we are many years later, headlining Madison Square Garden, in the most iconic venue in boxing, making history as the biggest fight in female boxing history. This is just incredible, and yeah, this is all the sacrifice have been worth it for sure. This is just a great boxing match. This isn't just the best female boxing match in the world right now, but probably the best fight you can see right now, male or female. And on Saturday night, we're going to put on an absolute showcase for the sport.
Tash, obviously we're going to get on to the big one, what's happening weekend. A fighter you know really well in Katie Taylor. Before we get on to prediction-wise, we know Katie in the past, like people will question the difficulty she has with southpaws. What kind of problems do you expect Serrano to pose her?
I think, you look at even the amateurs through to the professionals, and the people that she's, I wouldn't say struggled with, but I've had difficulty with, as being your Gulsum Tartars, as being your Sophia Rotchagavas, as being, close fights with myself. So I do think if there is an Achilles, it's a southpaw. You can draw it into the fight, as we've seen with Pursoon. And Serrano is a come-forward, aggressive southpaw. She's not a Limachenko or a bit of a lazy person like myself for counter-punching me. She'll go for you, and she'll be aggressive. And I think you can draw Katie into a fight that way. She has done MMA before. She's been around. She's
crossed over a little bit, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been around a very long time. So that's experience, that's toughness that, she may not have ever came across before. When you're getting hit with them elbows. I've done a little bit of training with Molly and stuff. And I swear, I sparred once and I couldn't walk for about 2 days. So when that's happening and you're training for fights and, preparing yourself for them 5-minute rounds, that's a different type of hard. And she's done both.
Do you think you can read into anything about Katie already fighting Cindy, the sister? And I think there was that kind of funny scene at the end of that fight when Cindy's husband, who's also the coach of both, said, "Wait till you fight the other one." That was a bit mad. But I mean, will she take his wife's back? Will she take any real positives from that? Or was it totally different fighters and different kind of styles?
I mean, you can always live and hope. Like we hoped Callum would beat Canelo for Liam's sake. But I don't think that'll be the forefront of her mind. She's going to do a job for herself and perform the best she can without the extra added pressure. Sometimes people just look for a coincidence or something to jump on to storyline. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think she'll be worried about that. She'll be focusing on herself and being in the best condition she can be to do the unthinkable.
So about the fight, how do you see it going? Give us your prediction, give us your breakdown.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a Pursoon scenario where she's the Katie's deemed the home fighter and she's in New York and, you're going there to...
It could be very much split down the middle, big Puerto Rican contingent, obviously a massive Irish contingent. There's going to be support for both there.
Yeah, 100%. She's an American in America.
Yeah.
She, like I said, sometimes with the scoring, we know that the Americans prefer aggression.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think Serrano will be aggressive. I don't think Katie's going to have to go looking for her. I think she just goes and puts it on her and see what happens. There isn't a style that Katie hasn't fought. There isn't a person, you know, fast, slow, counter-puncher, aggressive, tall, little. There isn't a person she hasn't fought in amateurs or professional. So it's sometimes hard to bet against her. But that being said, I just do think Serrano was all wrong for her.
Yeah.
And I don't think either of them stop either of them.
It goes the distance.
It goes the distance, and I think it potentially is a close one to Serrano.
Well, that would be something, wouldn't it? That would be a first professional defeat. But I mean, in terms of the event that we're talking about, I mean, you and Katie famously met at the Olympics, and that was an incredible event. It was a big statement for women's boxing in the amateurs. Katie's been a trailblazer, but you've had your big moments as well. You're a world champion in your own right. You've had the big fight with Katie. What does it mean for the women's side of the sport that they are topping the bill at MSG in the big room?
Yeah, it's massive, and there's, you know, pretty much Katie's paved the way in a lot of things that we've done amateur and professionally, and opened many doors and left us to be able to follow in her footsteps. And I think as female athletes, we always knew how good it was. We just needed the world and the platform and the stage to do it. And there's no bigger stage. Like, we're talking about boxing meccas here in MSG, and not the little room, as they've said, it's in the big room. And to be able to headline that's you know, that's setting the standard for other promoters, other channels, other platforms to follow. And it proves that what we've been saying all along, at its best, women's boxing is just as good as the men's, and people are now buying into that. There is no, oh, it's a man, it's a woman. It's just boxing. And if you appreciate boxing, like, you want to see it at its best level.
But enough about that. What about you then? Because you've got that belt now. You had to move up to get the opportunity to win the WBO belt, and you did it in style. And you were talking about the science of it, obviously, moving up in weight, which you did very well, clearly. And now, if you stick around at that weight, again, I know Joe's thoughts, but there's the Hannah Rankin fight, if it's possible, and that would be a unification. Scotland, England, there's an easy story to tell there, isn't it? But there's the other champions as well. So what, as far as you're concerned, what would you want to happen? What do you think will happen?
I just want to fight. I think she's having her homecoming in Glasgow, OVO, 13th of May.
Yeah.
And, like, hoping and willing that she comes through that you know, there is an opportunity for us to box, and it's a fight that we both want. We both believe we can win. And who doesn't love, you know, we're talking about stories that and selling points. Who doesn't love an England versus Scotland rivalry? And it's not going to be, you know, a trash talk and like that kind of scenario. I think it'll be very much Taylor Serrano, where we're going to let the fighting talk on the night.
It'd be incredible, actually, if it did happen, because there's just, you know, you're a TV star now as well, away from the ring. And, you know, we know your story, which is brilliant. Hannah's a professional musician. She's a great talker as well as yourself, and, you know, she'd sell it brilliantly. She's a great character, great person as well. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? I mean, for the UK.
Yeah, I think it's a big event, and we're talking about, you know, you've got maybe Clarissa and Savannah on the horizon, you know, myself and Rankin, and these are big, huge fights for the British public and for female boxing. You know, she's a champion in her own right. You know, Rankin's been in with the likes of Savannah and Clarissa, and you know, I respect who she is, what she brings to the table, like I did with Namas, like I did with the opponent before, and I've just got to put my best foot forward, and that's what I always do. Like I say, give 100% at every camp. And I remember Joe saying to me ages ago, you know what he's like once you walk through these, you know, these doors and start challenging for titles, you can't go back. And I don't want to have these tick over fights, and I've done that, and you know, I'm ready to just, you know, keep fighting the best, and that's what I want to do.
Sounds that way.
Well, it is, and I think that because we have a current world champion with us, Anthony, it's only fair that Natasha signs us out the show, because, you know, I mean, you've had your day, let's face it. You know, you're doing great things as a coach now. You're doing great things as a coach.
Trying,
no one should ever forget your WBA lightweight championship of the world, which we're always contracted that we have to say when Anthony's it's part of the gig on the lightweight.
He paved the way for the rest of Gallagher's, you know that, don't you?
that means a lot.
He did. Of course, everything you see on the show, there are long form interviews on the YouTube channel. All you have to do is go there, the Lightweight Boxing Show, and like and subscribe. But would you do us the honour, Natasha, as a current world champion, to sign us out and say, thank you very much indeed for watching the Lightweight Boxing Show?
Thank you very much indeed for watching the Lightweight Boxing Show.